Welcome to the latest edition of the Core Podcast Series. Today is Saturday, August 29th, 2020, and we are here to report exciting news about the special election that just happened for the town of Edgewood.
Yeah, the special election was a complete blowout in a way. It was about 70% for commission manager and about 30% against. It was the biggest turnout that Edgewood's ever had in its history. And what that says to me, I think about what that means. 70% of the people that voted for it want to change. So that voted in the election. And there was so many people that turned out, the higher percentage than ever. You can see that change is really fundamental and important to the town right now. So I want to congratulate everybody. I want to thank everybody who voted, even those who turned out and voted against it. I don't know what those reasons are, but I know that we have more commonality in Edgewood than we have differences. And I think it's important that people show an interest, so I appreciate the turnout.
Now, the results are still unofficial. We expect the final tally to be certified by the county clerk within the next several days. Isn't that right?
Right, and then those election results will be adopted by the town, probably on the meeting on the 9th.
September 9th.
Yeah.
Okay. And by our count, it looks like about 1,505 people voted.
Mm-hmm.
A little over 1,000 were in favor of the change to commission manager form of government, and 462 against. So we think that not only is the participation level astounding, remarkable, and commendable, we also think that the people were clear in their choice for change.
Yeah. So what next? I'm hearing that from a lot of people. I'm getting a lot of phone calls and emails. And by the way, we want to hear from you as well. Our email address is edgewoodcorenm@gmail.com. And I'm going to give you my personal phone number, which is 505-321-6161, because we really want to hear from the public. I'm hearing a lot of questions about what's next. So here's the way that I think about it, Adrian, is, the public at our first legacy meeting got the information that we had that they didn't have. When they realized what was happening in town government with misuse of the funds on the sewer, and they saw for themselves how the councilors were being bullied, people were being bullied for having a different opinion, they said, what can we do to change this system? So we took that information, we said, okay, we'll look into it. We found two options. One was the lawsuit that we've initiated on behalf of the town to recover the millions of dollars that the mayor put into his own property. The other was this special election in order to gain the superpowers and tools that are available under commission manager. So then we went back in March, we said, here's what we found. The people said, we wanted to go forward. How do we go forward? We circulated the petition for the special election, and now we've had this result.
And one of the things that I think is important to note, at least from our perspective, is that the change to the new form of government is going to be a transition, and we're entering into a transitional period. But at the same time, we actually think that this change is foundational, and that this foundation is something that will serve this community not just now, but in the future.
Right, and we know the mayor came out against it in full force, had signs all over Bassett property, all over town. The planning and zoning members that he appointed, Glenn Felton and Janelle Turner, came out in force against it. Linda Hawley came out against it in the newspapers. So you have to ask yourself, why would the government come out against what the people want in a change of form of government? Wouldn't they say, if you're a public servant, wouldn't you say, well, whatever form they want, that's what we'll do, the will of the people, right? But that's why we formed what we have, because it seems as though it's the mayor's agenda and his two counselors, Abrams and Hawley, and they don't want to hear from the people. So now that we've won this huge election with these new tools, they're saying, well, it doesn't matter. We're not going to fundamentally change anything until the end of next year.
Well, we certainly hope that's not the case, but what is true is the people have spoken. Their voice and decision was clear. As we go through this transitional period where the town needs to make certain changes to how it operates to accord with the commission manager form of government, the current elected officials, they're on audition, right? And we'll be watching, as will certain other people, particularly all those who were inclined to vote and willing to participate and cast their voice in the affairs of Edgewood government.
And now we have the superpowers that we gained through the special election of commission manager, which is referendum, initiative, and recall. So let's say that we're evaluating these options and we want to hear from the public about which direction to go here. But let's say that, for example, that they want to mire Edgewood in debt on the EPCOR matter and borrow $28 million or something. You can use the special procedures in the commission manager government, the superpowers, to do a referendum and stop that. If they persist in doing corrupt acts and they won't pay the money back for the sewer line that he put on his own property, then we can do a recall. So you can also do an initiative, as you and I have talked. We could put an initiative in to change the operating ordinance that where any counselor can put an item on the agenda. Right now, he's got absolute control because the mayor sets the agenda, and the rule that he's made is none of the other counselors can put something on the agenda without 3 of them agreeing, and 2 of them are his counselors.
Which makes it very difficult, and part of the reason that power is so coercive in terms of the direction of the town is because the town, under the Open Meetings Act, can only take official action through a public vote or some action that's done in public. And by limiting the public items on the agenda, you limit what the town is able to accomplish.
Right. So to an extent, what we do going forward in our next steps will in some way depend on them. I'm already seeing a lot of information from the town saying we are marching forward on EPCOR, we are marching forward on residential sewer. They have it on a priority funding list. You don't put items on a priority funding list that you don't intend to do. So we're watching to see what will happen. We're evaluating these, and in the meantime, we've had some really good news on our lawsuit for the town.
Yes, we have. One of the things that you should look forward to is the town will be holding a special meeting. It is going to be Thursday, September 3rd, which is a little under a week from now. Mm-hmm. The meeting will be held 10 o'clock. Again, it's virtual. So if you want to participate, you're more than welcome to call in. The town's agenda is on its website, but it's only one item. It's going to go into closed session because there's an exception that allows for closed session for pending litigation, and this is a lawsuit that is certainly pending against the mayor. In fact, it's been waiting a long time to be heard.
And a little background on the lawsuit. Any taxpayer can sue the government for on a fraudulent claim, or they can sue somebody who submitted a fraudulent claim to the government and got paid. So, and the suit is to recover the money. We've also included a count for the mayor, since he's the one who did it, to remove him for fraud. You can't defraud the government. You can't benefit from public funds. So in this kind of a lawsuit, the Attorney General has the right to take the lead in the case or to let us proceed. So this was another milestone in that the Attorney General gave us permission to proceed in this matter. Now it has to go before the town. And it seems strange to think that the town has the right to pick up the suit. But if it wasn't the mayor doing it, if it was just another citizen, you can see how it makes sense. The town might want to pick up the suit and then go after the money that they lost.
Correct, because it's the town that got ripped off.
It's the town that got ripped off. But in this case, the defendant is the mayor of the town. So we'll see what they do with it. But there's so many conflicts, I would think, in terms of how the governing body would have to deal with that I would think they would want us to proceed with the suit instead, but we'll see. And we will do that as a participant either way.
That's certainly true. But that vote is coming up on September 3rd. We're very interested to see how that vote comes out.
So the other thing that happened recently is at the last meeting, the Councilor Abrams was offended that the public didn't like what he's been doing. Well, you would think that they would take it to heart that 70% of the people came out to vote against his positions. But instead, he seemed to feel like he was being victimized because the public was speaking out and saying they didn't like what he was doing. So he said, call me. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call me. You don't have to turn out in a meeting and, to make me feel bad about what I've done. So I can say this, though. I have called him on many occasions and never received one return phone call. But in keeping with his word, I'm going to give you all his phone number. His number is 286-9720, And the town hall number is 286-4518. So you can call Counselor Abrams and on either of those numbers. He has said he will return your calls. You can let him know how you feel about all this and that you want what you were promised and what you voted for. They're saying your vote doesn't matter because we're going to go down the same agenda we've been following regardless of your vote. I think it would be great if everybody could call in, talk to Counselor Abrams, because it only takes one of the voting block, the mayor, Counselor Hawley, and Counselor Abrams. If just one of those changed their mind about lockstep on this agenda, it would change everything. So please give Counselor Abrams a call, take him at his word that he's going to call you and talk to you, and let's see what happens with that.
And certainly we are hoping that somebody would be willing to defect from the mayor and come to our side,
Yeah.
which is the side of openness, transparency, accountability, the opportunity to be able to participate in the political process and not just be recipients of the effects of what comes down from on high.
And I want to say this too, that there are two counselors in town hall that are standing strong for open, transparent, and ethical government, and those are Counselor Abraham and Jaramillo, and they have been taking a beating for the last 2 years because of their stand. Well, now you could say, because 70% of the voters have agreed that a dramatic change needs to happen in town government, that they actually represent that contingent, that 70% of the town. So if I were Counselor Hawley and Abrams and the mayor, I would say, we better pay attention to the 70%. Instead, they're saying, your vote doesn't matter, we're not going to change anything. But we're committed to make sure that does happen. Thank God we have the law. The mayor didn't want to hold the special election and said we don't have to. He got an attorney's opinion, which you can solicit any opinion you want. If you get 10 attorneys together, you'll get 20 different opinions. So they solicited the opinion that said they did not have to hold the special election in August. It got taken to the judge by Counselors Abraham and Jaramillo, and the judge said you have to hold the election. So no matter what opinions they give you, they're trying to discourage the people that voted that nothing's going to happen. But we're here, we're listening to you, and we are marching forward on all these steps. I know there's been some things that have been said from his contingent that your vote didn't count and nothing will change, but we're going to see to it that it does.
And anybody who holds that view will certainly not hold elective office in this town for long.
Right.
Bringing you the information that you need to know about local politics and the local community. This is Citizens for an Open and Responsible Edgewood. Stay tuned, keep watching.